Hello friends, I'm your coach and host Narayan Rao and I welcome you to my channel Rayana Chess Wars. Here in this channel, I'm going to teach you some tricks, trades, puzzles and traps. But today this video is for the beginners who are very new to chess and who would like to play and enjoy the game of chess. So if you are one amongst them, this video is just for you. But before proceeding further, if you have not seen my earlier 4 videos on chess basics, I suggest you go back and watch them before coming back and see this video. Because if you do that, you would be much better equipped to understand more about this video. So without wasting further time, let us proceed further. Today we are going to discuss about some special rules of chess. First is the pawn promotion. As we had already discussed earlier, a pawn which manages to reach the 8th rank, it can be promoted to a piece of our choice. Any number of pawns can be promoted to any number of pieces depending upon which piece we opt for. The second special feature of chess is the castling. Castling occurs when the king and the rook, either this side or this side, this is the king side, this is the queen side, when these two exchange places between themselves, that is when the king moves to this side and the rook comes to this side. For example, let us say this one, the king moves here and the rook comes here. This is castling. Castling can also happen this side. The king moves 2 squares this side and the rook comes here. So this is called long castling. A castling is done to shield the king from its enemy and move it to a corner of safety. This also activates the rook and brings it into active play. Thus, castling achieves two objectives at the same time in one move, taking the king to safety and activating the rook and bringing it into play. Generally, every player aims for castling in the opening phase of the game, and he also tries to prevent the other player from castling so as to put pressure on the king. Castlings can be done both on the king side as well on the queen side. The castling on the queen side is known as long castling because here, while the king moves only two squares, here the rook jumps 3 squares. So this is known as long castling. For a castling to happen, there are some requirements. Both the king and the rook should not have moved from their original places earlier. For example, let us say the king is here. Here the rook gives a check. The king comes here. And now the rook, suppose let us say it goes here. The king comes here. And now we want to do a castling. This cannot happen. The king should not have moved from its original place. Same goes for the rook. The rook should not have earlier moved from its original place. Secondly, there should be no pieces obstructing the king and the rook in between. Then only the castling can happen without any pieces in between. Thirdly, a rook should not be in check at the time of castling. For example, the rook is giving a check here. Now the king cannot cancel. First the king has to defend the check and then only in the next move it can castle. Fourthly, the king at the time of castling cannot land on the square of the check. For example, here the bishop is guarding this square. Now castling is not possible in such a circumstance because the king can be captured. Fourthly, a king cannot cross a square of check and go and castle. For example, here the bishop is controlling this square, these squares. Now the king cannot cross this square that is controlled by the bishop, land here and then castle. The third special rule of chess is the enpassant rule. The basic requirement for this enpassant is that the this pawn should be on the 5th rank, and this pawn should have advanced from the 2nd rank to the 4th rank, and not from the 3rd rank to the 4th rank. That's number 1. The second rule is that the capturing pawn should avail this option immediately after the pawn move. This option cannot be availed at a later stage. So friends, this brings an end to this video, and this also brings an end to this series of tutorials on chess basics. If you have liked this video, please press the like button, share and subscribe. So see you in my next video, and till such time, take care of yourselves and goodbye.